Hey, this is Scott from the XCs, and you're listening to John and Tom on the Bang Cartoon Radio Hour.
I said on this show they would blow one of these last two gimme home games that they had, and they looked very impressive. I will give you that in both those games. But I think there's one other team in their division that could turn back into the most feared team in the NFC. The second, maybe even the first best team in the NFC. And it's a team that's still a long shot to even make the playoffs. I give you the Philadelphia Eagles, who were extremely impressive last Thursday night. And let me tell you, if they happen to go beat the New York Football Giants this Sunday, which I believe they will, and they get hot and win out their last, that would be 6 games, nobody's going to want to deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, because I still say the pieces are there for them to put it all back together and become the biggest threat to the New York Giants.
You're such a Dallas hater that you pull the Eagles card? Are you kidding me? There's no team that has more turmoil right now than the Philadelphia Eagles.
I stand.
What happened to you in Dallas, Skip?
Nothing.
Tell the world.
And by the way, and
really
no love.
I don't trust the little Romeo quarterback.
What happened to you in Dallas, Skip? Tell the world.
He got thrown out of Valley Ranch.
He got thrown out of Valley Ranch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I have a book that he wrote called I Hate the Dallas Cowboys. That's a whole book full of essays by people that hate the Dallas Cowboys. I might have to read that again and see if I can't find some show material.
He was back in the 90s. He was writing down there, and he was lying. And they pissed off Jerry Jones, and he says, you're banned from Valley Ranch. And ever since then, he has been on this tirade against everything against the Cowboys.
The Eagles. All the pieces are there except for the wide receiver and any other running back other than the one that's hurt all the time, and the offensive line and quarterback that's inconsistent. And
a lot of people have picked us to win the NFC, and rightfully so.
Right.
Yeah, thank you, Skip.
I'm doing it for Donovan, you know.
He's doing it for Donovan.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It's the way you do this.
Well, they're not stopping the Giants. Ain't no goddamn way. And you know what? It's not like it took a big friggin' genius to tell you that the Eagles were going to smoke the Cardinals. I do believe I said so on this very show last week. They're going to kick the crap out of the Cardinals. It's going to give them just enough glimmer of hope that a bonehead like him is going to say they've got a shot at the playoffs. And all these mooks up in Philly are going to be, oh, yo, here we come, yo, here we are. and you know what it's going to do? It's going to make him sit Cobb for another 6 games. Nobody's going to see what he can do until...
No, I want Cobb in there for the final game of the season.
Right, because see, I was talking to a Vikings fan the other day. The Vikings had a great game plan against the Bears the other day, right? And that's what I said. I said, well, you know how the Eagles are going to showcase McNabb to trade him. Well, the Vikings are showcasing the fact that Baldy up there can actually call a decent game.
Right.
Come play for us, Donovan. Look, even a schlub like Gus can throw a 99-yarder.
Well, maybe Skip's pissed from the 90s because Charles Haley smacked him in the mouth with his dick.
It's a very good possibility. I have a feeling that if he did that, Skip would have gone.
Skip, what do you think of Charles Haley's penis?
It's a miracle.
Okay.
Oh, it's just delicious.
Flat out.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. The book is Boys Will Be Boys. The author is Jeff Pearlman of Sports Illustrated. Chapter 12 is called The Last Naked Warrior.
Yeah, this is a good tell-all book about the crack boys of the 90s.
And the opening quote is, "You're from California? You must be a fucking faggot." That is Charles Haley upon meeting his new teammate.
Yes, Charles Haley.
In the aftermath of the 1991 season, Cowboys coaches and executives congregated at Valley Ranch to assess the organization's greatest needs. That was a defensive end. Buffalo's Bruce Smith came to mind, as did the Vikings' Chris Dolman and Reggie White of the Eagles, but those players were, well, unavailable. I mean, they're the cornerstones of their franchises. There was, however, one man who could be had for the right price.
But couldn't have been Reggie White, because God told him to go play in Green Bay. He didn't say anything about Dallas.
Dallas, meet Charles Haley and his exceptionally large penis.
I'd just like to introduce everybody to my penis. I can see Jerry Jones now.
Everybody, this is Charles, and this is his penis.
Cock.
Dick.
Right.
It's a pecker.
Right.
Oh, this is going to be one hell of a segment, I can tell.
Well, he had 12 sacks as a rookie. He was drafted by the 49ers in 1986 in the fourth round, had 12 sacks as a rookie, and became praised as one of the league's dominant quarterback killers and one of its most imbalanced players.
Yeah, he was a nut.
Well, the reputation started with the penis, a fire hose. I'm reading straight from the chapter here. A fire hose of an organ that brought Haley more pride than any game-winning tackle. As he grew more comfortable.
All the pride part. I could see him going down the street. Fans are going, "Hey, Charles, great game! Oh yeah, look at this! Come here, girl."
As he grew more comfortable in the 49ers locker room, Haley would stroll up to an unsuspecting teammate, whip out his dick, and repeatedly stroke it in his face.
Yo, Tommy Rathman, come here.
Players initially laughed it off, but Haley refused to stop. He'd wrap his hand around his penis, turn toward Joe Montana or John Taylor, and bellow, "You know you want to suck on this. You only wish you had this baby."
Come here, Joe. Joe Montana. That's the funniest thing, man. Old Joe Montana, Mr. Cool, right? Mr. Hey, isn't that John Candy way down in the end zone? Having Charles Haley's dick in his ear.
Charles used to beat off in team meetings while talking graphically about other players' wives, says Michael Silver, who covered the 49ers for the Santa Rosa Democrat. It got to the point of ejaculation.
I came all over Fred Dean once. Yeah, man, his wife had some big old titties, and I got to thinking about him, and cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Haley was socially awkward and unflinchingly vicious. He'd been prescribed medication to treat manic depression, but would take the pills one day, then skip the next 2 or 3.
Hey, it's like a lottery.
Haley once exposed himself to reporter Ann Killian of the San Jose Mercury News, a pathetic attempt at gender intimidation. He rarely passed up the opportunity to verbally pounce on a teammate's shortcoming, an ugly child, a protruding mole, a lisp. He sounds like us.
Yo, Joe Montana, you talk like a faggot and you got a funny-looking nose, and that's one ugly-ass kid. Don't you want to be sucking on this? Ah, damn, why don't you tell your ugly-ass kid to come on over here and stroke it for a minute?
Charles was a great player, says Dexter Carter, former 49ers running back, but there's only so much a man can tolerate. Once he got going, the words flew from Haley's mouth as if they were shot from a .50 caliber machine gun. Anyone effeminate was a faggot. African-American players who became close with the coaching staff were house niggers and Uncle Toms.
I wonder what he calls the president.
Whites were honkies and Hispanics were spics. A joke Haley told, what do Mexicans and a hotel have in common? A mop. Twice his racial barbs resulted in fights with 49er teammate Jim Burt, a white defensive lineman who decked Haley both times.
I can see that. Jim Burt, that was a hitting dude, man. He was a nasty hitter.
Haley's supporters, and he's got 2 or 3, insist the talk was silly banter from an unstable man. His detractors, however, point to 1991, the 6th and final year in his initial tenure with San Francisco.
See, I don't understand that one part there. It's silly banter from an unstable guy. Don't worry about him. He's just unstable.
Yeah, he's just swinging his dick.
He's just crazy. Not even in a good way.
The beginning of the end of Haley, the 49er, came in the 5th week of the season when his team traveled to the Oakland Coliseum and fell 12-6 to the Raiders, led by ex-San Francisco greats Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig. To Haley, both men were more than gridiron peers. They had been mentors, father figures, role models, heroes.
Father figures.
As he entered the locker room after the defeat, a dehydrated Haley immediately connected to an IV. With tears streaming down his face, Haley yanked the needle from his arm, punched a hole in the wall, took a swing at George Seifert, and began screaming at Steve Young, who had played poorly. "I could have fucking won that game in my fucking sleep. You're a motherfucking pussy faggot quarterback. A motherfucking pussy faggot with no balls."
Sorry, kids. Yeah, you shouldn't be listening to this at work.
Wow.
Charles Haley on Steve Young. That's 2 Hall of Famers. Let's see, he's stuck his dick in Joe Montana's ear and he called Steve Young a pussy-ass faggot. Oh, and he took a swing at George Seifert, who I always thought should be holding a glass of white wine when he was on the sidelines. You know, he was just so California.
He complained that the team needed to get rid of all its white linebackers and replace them with a Soul Patrol.
Soul Patrol! Soul Patrol. They brought in Tim Harris, right?
Yeah.
He was a Soul Patrol.
Yeah. You know what? Tim Harris was his biggest enemy. Well, it says, like Haley, Harris was strong, fast, and intimidating. Unlike Haley, Harris was a decent man who got along with all the other Niners. Haley's resentment toward his teammate festered throughout the season until near year's end. He cut a hole in the roof of Harris's $50,000 BMW 733i convertible, stood on top of the car, pulled down his pants, and urinated onto the steering wheel and the floor.